So, Key, how are you? We are joined with Oban Elliot today, a promising cage fighter, MMA, hope possibly going to the UFC and boxing. Exciting little interview ahead.
Yeah, he's first and foremost, we are really into boxing, but in the MMA world, I know he's a very exciting talent. A lot of hype surrounding him. He's doing the business in the cage, but I think outside of the cage, he's a character as well, bit of a personality, and it looks really promising. And I think we got our timing right, Scott, because it's 3 years to the date of the crossover fight between Mayweather and McGregor. So I think we timed it perfectly, mate.
Yeah, great. So without further ado, let's get Oban in.
There we are. We doing, boys, right?
Yeah,
all good, mate. All good.
Yeah, Oban, thanks, for joining us today. How are you keeping, mate? How's things?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Yeah, training hard for the next fight now in four weeks today. So training is going good. Just relaxing now after my morning session, chatting to you boys. Yeah.
Oh, wicked. What's for the name now, Ob? Is it just going to be Oban Elliot, or have you got a new sort of nickname that you want to chuck in?
The nickname for Inside the Cage will be Angel Eyes. That's
Angel
the new one.
Eyes.
Yeah. Angel Eyes. It's got a few different meanings, but like I'm known as the gangster on all forums, and the way you got to think of it is, if a gangster sat in a room with a load of gangsters, they don't all address each other as gangster, do they? They all have their own individual nicknames, and that's where Angel Eyes come from. Well, my nan used to call me Angel Eyes. She still does, and it's just one of them things that kind of just clicked. I thought, that'll be. No one calls me evil. Evil was something I picked when I was 18. I was a dumb little kid. So yeah, Angel Eyes is debuting 4 weeks today.
Perfect, mate. Now, as we said, it's a pleasure having you joining us this morning, mate.
No
we know
worries.
You're an MMA fighter, but I think it's fair to say as well you're a big boxing fan and passionate about boxing as well, aren't you?
I'd say MMA is my craft, but boxing is my that's my love. That's the sport I follow the most. Heavyweight boxing, I'm obsessed with. I always have been. But I'm following MMA. I don't have the time to follow all the weight classes in boxing. I'm not just being one of them like heavyweight fanboys sort of thing. But I obviously watch my MMA, but I'm a real fan of boxing. I really appreciate the craft, the technique. That I like to see what's going on. It's a chess match over a lot of rounds. It's something I've always wanted to do myself, and it's by far I'm a bigger boxing fan than I am an MMA fan.
Oh,
by far.
Obviously, talking of heavyweights, there was a few on the weekend. Did you manage to watch Dillian White-Povetkin, Babic as well? Did you manage to watch them?
Yeah, I watched both the fights. I thought, what is it? Pursoon, the female fight.
That's right.
Yeah,
Pursoon.
Yeah.
I thought she definitely won that. That was another dodgy decision. It was she pushed the pace, pushed the aggression on to. Let me mute this. No, that ain't gonna stop. Turn off. Are we back?
Yeah.
There we are.
There we are. Yeah. And I thought she definitely won that fight against Katie Taylor. You could see how it goes either way. That it was a 98-93 that got scored, which was a bit wide, But and then the Dylan
5 rounds up was crazy, wasn't it? 5 rounds, I couldn't believe that, mate.
No, I know. It's one of them things, you wonder what kind of judges. You get the same in MMA. You wonder what kind of judges have turned up and who are actually scoring the fight. You wonder what experience they've got themselves or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's and half the time you wonder, are they even concentrating? Are they bored after sitting there all night? And by the time the co-main main event comes around, they're probably a bit tired. It's the end of a long day for them. So It's one of them things. But that's it. That's why it motivates the fight to always get a finish, and neither fighter could in the women's fight. So yeah, it is what it is. And as far as the White-Povetkin fight, I think everyone I was watching it with were all saying, Dillian White, you listen to the biased commentary. But Povetkin, he's always there. He's tough. He's crafty. He's fit. He never shies away. You look what he done with Joshua. He made Joshua's life a misery until Joshua stopped him. And Dillian thought but especially when he floored Povetkin, I think I thought, it's a masterclass here from White, and then he comes out with that peachy shot, one of the best punches I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was outstanding. And as you said, Povetkin is, a well-skilled fighter, obviously former world champion, Olympic champion as well, and he's dangerous until the very last second, isn't he, in a fight?
He's dangerous until he's lost, and he's only lost twice. Is it twice at professional? He's lost.
Yeah,
twice.
Klitschko and Joshua, yeah.
That says it all, doesn't it? So I mean, to write him off was crazy, and that's the power of the promoter, isn't it? They're pumping a lot of hype into Dillian White, which is understandable. But then you get Povetkin, he's 40. I think but we all know heavyweight boxing's you get a late bloomer every now and then, don't you? And I think Povetkin, he looks just as good as he's ever done in the way he's standing there with White, the physical fighter like that, and stopped him. It was a similar punch to like the Rahman Lewis sort of stoppage, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It was a bit like that. It was like, whoa. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's outstanding, mate. Now, Oban, talking of boxing and MMA, it's 3 years anniversary to the fight week of Mayweather versus McGregor, which obviously, was a crossover fight between a boxing legend and a UFC legend. What did you make of all that, Oban? Were you for or against him, mate?
I mean, with the build-up it had, I think it had to happen. I was happy it happened. But then again, I think Mayweather just turned up for a spar, didn't he?
Yeah.
He just sparred him. And Mayweather and McGregor, he had a couple of good. I've sparred plenty of good boxers before, and you get your way with them. You can get good success with them after a while, especially in the early rounds. But then once they start to make your reads, they're used to sparring over a lot of rounds. MMA boys are 3 and 5, so of course McGregor done well in the early rounds, but it was just one of them. It's just a spectacle, wasn't it? It was more of an exhibition than anything else.
I read a lot after it. A lot of people were saying they thought, Mayweather was carrying McGregor, for the spectacle and things. Do you think that's a bit disrespectful towards McGregor to say that?
Yeah, I mean, he could have. He's got the ability to do that, hasn't he?
Yeah.
But I mean, when you talk, I'm not one of them people that buys in the respect when it comes to fighting. You shake hands before you shake hands. That's enough respect. When you're in there and you're fighting, you can do what you want to each other. You can talk to each other. At the end of the day, you're knocking each other in the head, aren't you? So I mean, if Mayweather carried him, he's the main man across all sports. So I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah.
Moving on to your career, were you always going to be a fighter? It's true. Your dad was sadly no longer with us. He was a good fighter as well, wasn't he? Do you think you were always going to be a fighter?
Yeah, ever since that was, but he made that decision for me when I was a little kid. He passed away when I was 7, so I was still very young. But in that time, that was all I knew. In the first 7 years of my life, I honest to God, I have not known anything else. All my mates are playing football and that. It's just like I've never understood it. It's just fighting. That's what it's mad. That's all I've ever known. And yeah, my dad was a great. He was an amateur boxer. I'm not sure if he probably had a couple of. I'm not sure of any unlicensed fights. He didn't turn professional, but he fought on the same bill as Joe Calzaghe back in 1990, fighting for the. It was the senior Welsh title. He was fighting for the seniors. Yeah, he was, and he come up short. He was fighting a really tough guy. I forget the guy's name now. But he come up short in that fight. He got it was a standing 10 count. He was out on his feet. But my dad boxed to a good level, but he just didn't carry his discipline over to his normal life and fell into the traps. A lot of the great there's plenty of great amateurs that probably they get sick of the dedication, don't they? And they go off into trying normal life in itself, sort of thing. That's what happened with my old man.
Yeah, no, Oban, I saw a quote. I read a quote that you said that you see yourself as a fighter, not a mixed martial artist. Now, does this tell us, when we're looking at your style of fighting and what you feel are your strengths, does this tell us that you much prefer a stand-up or a tear-up as opposed to sort of the technical or grappling side of things?
Well, I know, because I think that comes from me being a fighter, in the sense of I back myself. It's because we're in a sport, we're in an era now, especially in MMA. It never used to be like this. Only the last 3 or 4 years, I'd say, where people are obsessed with like that. Make sure they're doing 3. People do 4 training sessions a day now. I've got session 1, session 2, session 3, session 4. I understand that if you got to get your weight down and stuff like that, but there's so many Instagram fighters. There's so many that just show off boys. They're going, oh yeah, you know. UFC is the ultimate fighting championships. It's not the ultimate 6 sessions a day championship. It's not the ultimate training championships. It's not the ultimate nutrition championships. It's not the ultimate look at me on the pads championships. You're fighting. You know, that's a Chael Sonnen first alluded to that, but probably 10 years ago now. But it's still the same thing now. I wouldn't, if there's boys call themselves MMA fighters, and the way they're carrying themselves and the way they actually fight on the night, I'm clearly not one of them. I'm clearly one of the last fighters that's still knocking around. I'm only 22, but we're going to a new era now of, I wouldn't even know what to call it. I was chatting to my strength and conditioning coach about this morning, Curtis Hale, and we're just in an era now where the fighters are kind of dying out. It's like everyone thinks it's a jiu-jitsu competition. You know, if we're fighting, you know, it's an old saying, isn't it? People they turn fights down now because they need 8-10 weeks to get their training in. And, you know, a fighter he'll train, he might have a shadow box for 10 minutes before he goes out as a fight. If someone starts on you on the street, you don't say, oh, you know, I'll see you in 8 weeks, mate. I'll come down the rugby field in 8 weeks. Let me train for it first. You have a fight, didn't you? You stress it out there and then, didn't you? So that's how I've been brought up. I'm more of a fighter. I don't do game plans or anything like that. I stress it out while I'm in there.
Wicked, mate. You've walked out or in front of thousands of people. Some fighters sort of feel the nerves, don't they? And other fighters thrive on that. I take you more of the latter. Do you thrive on the fact there's a lot of people watching, or do you feel nerves?
No, I thrive on it now. And to be honest, I don't even notice they're there. It's because I got an extensive. I've been actual like competitions, and you know, I didn't do the amateur boxing circuit. I did a kickboxing circuit, which is similar to the boxing. You know, there's 2 rings set up, little crowds or whatever. You know, got all the fighters there. You got boys warming up in the corner, and you know, the fights are going on all day. And I was about, I'd say, 200 times more nervous doing them than I am fighting in an arena in front of thousands. It don't bother me fighting in the arenas. I've had my apprenticeship with regards to having the nervous energy. I've had the adrenaline dumps. I've lost the fights. I've completely bottled it when I was like 12, 13, going, oh no, this is horrible. And then I just come through that. And when I get 15, 16, 17, I remember going into a fight. I was actually talking to the kid. It was my last kickboxing fight. I was talking shit to him as I was fighting. It was nuts. And now the nerves, of course there's nervous energy. I can't say I'm not apprehensive or anything like that, but I'm not worried about people there. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm more apprehensive of making sure I bring all my skills there. And that's just you call it nervous. I'm just switched on and focused, you know. That's all that is.
When does that sort of nervous energy, you mentioned a little bit about nervous energy, which is obviously a natural feeling for anybody to have, no matter what level you're fighting at. When does that sort of leave you, mate? Is it sort of, you know, you've got it in the changing room, but then as soon as you're walking out, it's like, right, you switched on, it's time to go and do business?
Rewind about, I reckon that I've already had the nervous energy for this fight 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Genuinely, it's gone. It's more now just get the weight down, get the weights down. I've never been this ready. I'm sitting nice now. I'm not overtraining or anything like that. The nervous energy was 2 weeks ago, I'd say, when I'm like, right, the fight's on, and now it's more just, this is what I do. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
I can't wait to have where I'm just fighting one guy my weight on that. I can't wait. It's more excitement. I'm not going to try and give you any bullshit where I'm saying, there's no nervous energy, I'm not nervous. It's just, nervous is the wrong word. It's more just like eager and switched on.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Now, I just want to touch back upon the crossover fights we spoke about. We mentioned, obviously, the one that's happened, the Mayweather-McGregor thing. Do you personally see it happening at all now in the future? I mean, I know there was talk of Dillian Whyte and Francis Ngannou at one point. Dillian Whyte obviously got a kickboxing background. Do you see it happening now again?
I do. I think I'd love to do it. I'd love to make the jump at some point in my career, even if I wouldn't just do a one-off fight like I do my because in boxing there's a lot of room there's a lot of opportunity to rattle a lot of fights off, isn't there? And I just listened to John Fury interview, and he says Tommy is booked in 4 fights ahead. He's got one in October, November. So, I'm not looking past anything, but I've always said it. Me and my coaches talk about it a lot, because I love to box when I'm sparring, and my coach will say, "You're not boxing, you're MMA. We'll get you a boxing fight one day." Do you know what I mean? So I think it will happen. You might see some big stars crossing over, and I'd like to be one of them one day.
Oh, wicked, mate. Do you enjoy calling other fighters out? We see loads in UFC and boxing where a fighter will call out another fighter. Do you think you need to do that in order to sell the fight, in order to be a big name in Cage Warriors, MMA, Bellator, UFC? Do you think you enjoy it?
I just, as I said, with the nervous energy, if we talk about that again, I'm not nervous about fighting anyone in the world, on the planet. I wouldn't even be nervous about fighting some Martian from Mars or Jupiter or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So if I go online, I'm on Twitter, I'm having a laugh and a joke like that, and I say, yeah, come on, mush, let's have a fight, that ain't me calling someone out and getting all angry and upset about it. He's a human being who goes to his gym and has his banter with the boys, and I'm just saying, come on, let's have a go then. If you think you're that good, and I'm just myself with it, It's the same way, like in the gym, like our Muay Thai coach, Kruheen. He's absolutely world class Muay Thai fighter, right? And in the same way, like he'll go, right, next, find a new partner for sparring, and I'll go, him, sort of thing. And everyone's like, oh, but, I just I like the challenge. And if I'm ever calling for a name, it's because I've got a plan, I've got a plan where I want to get to the Cage Warriors title ASAP. And there's certain fights I think that will get me closer. But this fight I've got up now is a good little... he's actually called me out, this kid, and it's a good little, on paper, it's perfect for my next step. So I'm happy with it, yeah.
How do you feel when other fighters, I don't know if many have, but do you enjoy if when other people sort of call you out?
It don't bother me, but what does my head in is when they call me out when I got a fight booked, or they call me out when
they know that you can't make the fight with them.
Yeah. Or they call me out when the coronavirus just kicks in, or they call me out when they call me out after I've just won. And for my last fight, right, this is you'll understand this. My last fight, last October, obviously with the coronavirus, it's been that long, and I had some boys saying, oh yeah, I smashed that Oban Elliot kid, and 10 days before that fight, my original opponent pulled out. So where was he then?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So where were you then? No problem, right? I got no problem with someone saying they'll beat me, as long as you're doing it in a way where I'll say I'll smash. I'll say I'll fight Khabib Nurmagomedov. I'll beat him. He'll have a job to beat me. Right? I'll say that now. And if my phone rings and it's Dana White and he goes, Oban Elliot, you're 3-0. Do you want to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov for the UFC title? 100%. Whether it's on 10 weeks' notice, 10 minutes' notice, 100%. Right? You know, it's far-fetched, but you get the gist. I say I beat Donovan Desmay, for example. He's the name I wanted to fight for this one. That's the name we all picked as a team, my coaches. Perfect match. And if my phone ring goes and say, Oban Elliot, yeah, you want to fight Donovan Desmay? I'll say, yeah. I wouldn't be like, I'd say yes straight away. So then you got these boys giving it. I've had it so many times now. Oh, yeah, this over, well, I'll beat him. But in all fairness, this kid who's called me out, he's actually signed the contract and we're actually fighting. This kid's giving it the big one for God knows how long now. Saying he's this and that and this and that. But the amount of opportunities he's had to fight me and hasn't. So then when he called me out this time, I was like, this is, again, I'll believe it when the contract's signed and he stood there across from me. And in all fairness to him, he's honouring his word so far. So I got no complaints. If he wants to call me out, fair enough. Yeah, as long as you actually do it and fight me, that's fine.
Yeah, like you said, if you're going to shout about things or you're going to call people's names out, etc., then, like you said, you've got to back it up, mate. And when that pen's there to sign the contract, you've got to do it.
Yeah, just do it then, innit? Or don't. Because there's the blueprint. You can make a good living out of being that respectful. I'll fight anyone who puts in front of me. If you don't want to necessarily pick a fight with a certain opponent, then you don't have to. You don't have to pretend that you're some hard man and you can, come on, I'll call you out. I wouldn't say I call people out. I just say point blank, do you want to have a go? I've even private messaged boys. I've not even done it on Twitter where people can see. I've actually gone, I said to Donovan on the Instagram DM, I said, do you want to fight in September, Mush? You there, Mush? ... Question mark, no reply.
Yeah.
But then he'll reply on like the public forum, but I'll actually message him personally and he won't reply. So you can see.
And he doesn't want to know. He's trying to put a bit of a persona on, is it? Out in the public eye, you just said.
And this is the thing, right? People say I've got a character and this and that. I mean, it's exactly the same in real life. It's like, it's just a bit of banter, but people are. That's why I got people who like me because it's real, and anyone who knows me, anyone who looks at me on the TV or the interviews or whatever like that, then they spend 10 minutes with me. They straight away like, oh yeah, he's actually that's what he's like. It's not some bullshit act like all the others do. It's genuine.
Yeah. Well, Oban, I want to ask you, when we put out yesterday, we announced about the interview we were doing. I saw on your retweet that you said your future in boxing. Now, you've touched on it as well a little bit in the interview so far. So tell us, mate, when is this going to happen? When are your plans to sort of move into boxing, mate?
Well, we'll see, won't we? I've got the backing. I'll have the training to do it. I've got Gary Lockett, my boxing trainer. I've got also the backing of the real Enzo Mack.
He'll be backing Enzo, me. Isn't he? Big Enzo.
He'll be backing me as well. And, because we've had a chat, if he ever wants to dip his toe into the MMA, I'll be there to help him. And he said if the same with a boxing match. So, I said earlier, didn't I? I'd love to get a couple of, we'll see how it goes, I'm sure when I'm in the bright lights of the UFC defending that world title, I'll probably be a bit busy, but maybe, we can dip in and out and have a little, we'll see how it goes. But it's something I definitely always want to do because, boxing is my first love, and that's what I'm the biggest fan of, boxing.
I saw you up in Dowlas. You've been up to Dowlas a few times, Dowlas ADC.
My brother trains up there all the time, and when I get a chance, I'll pop up and go on the bag or the pads with Liam, my brother. And
Liam's your brother, is he up?
Yeah, Liam.
Elliott, I didn't realise, mate. I trained myself up there. See, I didn't realise. I know Liam well.
Yeah, Liam's my brother. Yeah, that's the reason I go up there.
Yeah. Oh, great stuff, mate. Yeah. Great stuff.
Look at Liam getting the plug on the interview.
I hope you're fighting Michal Figlak. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. On September,
Michael, whatever he's called, yeah.
On the 24th of September, mate. He's also undefeated like yourself. I take it he's always going to go over. Is that right?
He can call himself undefeated if he wants. He's just one of these. He's just. I wouldn't. If he can call himself, the only boys he's beat are bums. And if he's beaten someone who isn't regarded a bum, if the guy he's beat's got a positive record, then that kid he's beat, whoever he's beat, were bums. Do you get the gist? You know what it is. You know the crack. Just, if and he's, he's put the. I've known this kid years. He fought Jack Shaw back in 2015, and he had more fights than Jack Shaw at the time. And it was a big amateur fight, 2 prospect. You look where Jack Shaw is now, and then you look at me. I'm on the rise. This kid's like 3-4 years older than me. Yet he's having to call me out to try and get somewhere. It just goes to show the kind of kid he is. He fights bums. He's got no minerals whatsoever. Because if he did, he would have fought more. He only fights bummed, and for some reason he thinks he can be. He might have a bit of spotlight with me. I don't blame him for trying to get a bit of spotlight, but he is fucked. Excuse my language.
No 2 ways about him, mate.
Yeah, that's I can't say much. Yeah, you can't say fairer than that, can you? Excuse the language, lads.
You going for the KO
war? I just go in and have a look and see what he's got. Hands up, keep my shape, and see what happens. I'll go in there. I'm not emotionally invested. I'm disciplined enough to not do that. I'm just going in as if he's any other randomer that I don't know of, even though he plays the mouth and gives it the big one. I'll go in there, look to win all the rounds, but 10 times before in the MMA cage, the finish has presented itself, and if I had a tenner and I was going to bet that the finish was going to happen again on the 24th, I'd be betting that it does. So I think I'll be cleaning him out in a couple of minutes, to be honest, but we'll see how the fight goes.
With regards to preparation, usually for your opponent, so how do you and your team sort of go about it? Are you very much a team that like to watch sort of old footage, old fights of your opponents, or do you just concentrate on you and your strengths?
We'll have a look at the we'll have a little look. We won't sit there all day studying him or anything like that, but we'll just have a little look at what he looks like, sort of thing. But if we couldn't look at the footage, we'd be doing that little look in the first minute or 2 of the fight and just having a little look at him. Because as I said, I'm a fighter. I'm not a martial artist. I'm not any of that bollocks. I'm a fighter, and I'll suss it out in front of me. I can suss it out. I've done it long enough. I can see his quirks. I can put my jab in his face like a good boxer does. Jab, jab, feint, feint, feint. Have a look. And it'll be figured out in 2 minutes. And I go out and get the sparring I need to make sure that system of mine works. I go up and I've sparred some top. I've sparred Leon Edwards, who's the best welterweight in the world. And I've sparred him for rounds and rounds and rounds up in Renegade. And because I went up to spar former Cage Warriors world champion Jai Herbert, and got some great rounds with him. And again, I had to sort of figure him out, and I spar boys up there I'd never seen fight before. I had to figure them out, and it's consistent how I go about things. So game planning for the fight is, I just let as long as my natural instincts take over, I'm relaxed and I'm enjoying myself. I'll beat anyone in the world. Fact.
Oh, wicked.
So, and like, as I said, back to the boxing and back to how of a fan I have of boxing. A fighter I've been watching a lot of lately is Anthony Joshua, and I've gone on record saying how Fury would smash him, right? But what you've got to learn with Joshua is every fight he's had, he's not got his own way for an extended period of time. he's lost a couple. He's not looked good. He's not got his own way. They've landed big shots. But apart from that one time against Ruiz, he always finds a way to win, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So, you know, the way things go sometimes in the fight, you've got to just read and assess the situation and find a way to win. And Joshua is another great example of a calm, composed fighter who just lets his natural instincts take over. He is quite robotic, and when you watch him, you think, God, but he wins, doesn't he? He always gets the job done, apart from that one.
And it was,
time,
like you said, Dob, it was nice to see sort of the different side and a different style to Joshua in that second Ruiz fight.
He looked brilliant.
Let's not kid ourselves. He couldn't, I mean, people complaining about the way he did it and saying it was boring, but we can't kid ourselves. He couldn't go in there again and stand in front of Ruiz after he got knocked out in the first fight, could he? You know, he had to change things.
I don't know why they called that second fight a boring fight. He was brilliant. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
and a true boxing fan will appreciate what they're looking at there, won't they? Do you know what I mean? They're really. I watched it literally yesterday, and I thought it was a great fight. And Ruiz was dangerous every second he was in there. He came in out in terrible shape, didn't he? But Joshua looked brilliant. He was on the back foot, a bit, like Larry Holmes-esque kind of footwork in and out. So it was a good fight. That was.
Just quickly before we go, how would you see Fury AJ going if it was to happen?
This is a thing I've had in the last couple of weeks. I think about this fight all the time, right? In the last couple of weeks, I've really thought, just as I alluded to earlier, Joshua ain't gonna get his way, but Joshua never gets his way. So we could see Joshua flip it on change his game plan a couple of times in the fight, and maybe he could cause Fury a lot of problems. But I think Fury, he's another fighter like that, but I think he's just a couple of levels above that. It's a tough time for Joshua in this era, because if Fury weren't around, he would be undoubtedly the best, and no one would give him any stick for not looking the part in certain fights. But I hate to count Joshua up. I think it's going to be a really good fight, because I think Joshua could find ways to pinch rounds, or he could find ways to change the momentum of the fight, and Fury might come in, but stick behind his jab and his feints, and Fury will have to change his game plan a few times. I think it will be a real chess match. But saying that, Fury could smash him like he done Wilder, and I think that is likely. So it's a big fight, but I think Fury wins.
Yeah,
definitely,
I could agree.
But I would not be against seeing Joshua winning either, because I think Joshua's going to have to fight to an entirely new level to beat Fury, and if he can reach that level, then for all the fans watching, we're witnessing true world greatness there, aren't we? If he can somehow beat Fury, then we've seen another fighter reach that level, that real great level, and I think it would be brilliant for the sport. But I think Fury will win. Yeah,
I got to agree with you, mate. Now, before we go, mate, I just got to say, I think I missed the trick today. I didn't get any funny stories from Liam about it. I missed the trick.
Oh, no.
I definitely.
Oh, well, I can give you a quick one now if you want.
Yeah, go on.
Go on for us, Hope. Go on.
Especially a boxing one, right? This just goes to show the type of boys we are. I was texting him saying, what you doing later? You training later? And I was giving him winding him up, right?
Yeah.
And this is probably the funniest story. And he was replying back I was giving him at the John Fury 24 hours ready, texting him, winding him up. And then he comes down the gym, face like thunder. I go, right, Liam? He goes, oh, yeah, finish talking shit now. I got you fuming. So I'm talking shit. We start sparring like that, and then I think I hit him with he was like, yinged when he should have yanged. I hit him with a good shot. He was like, oh, and it was basically a full board scrap down the unit we've got.
Yeah. Just
pure aggression, and the amount of times we've had body spars in the kitchen. Pissed up, not pissed up. Come on, let's have body spar. He broke his hand, hit my elbow, tops off, punching each other. He's got his daughter running around. Like, Ruby, sit over there with,
Brothers are never going to take it lightly on each other's sparring, but
no, it's loose. And then obviously my other brother Lloyd, I don't know who's worse, Lloyd or Liam. But then they'll both say I'm the worst. But whatever, innit? 3 brothers.
Well, I just got to say, mate, on behalf of Southwest Boxing Media, Scott and myself, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you today. So thanks for your time, mate.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me on, lads.
Cheers, Oban. Best of luck on the 24th, mate.
Yeah, nice one, Scott.
All the very best, Bob. Catch you soon, mate.
Hey, boys. Thank you.
Bye.